I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go.
Welcome in, everyone, to yet another episode of The Take with your host, Jackson Burleson, of course. In today's episode, we have a lot to unpack here when it comes to NFL and also UFC and boxing in this episode. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, like this video, comment, hit the notification bell so we can keep getting this channel going. Our goal this year is 10,000 subscribers. I said it in the last episode. So now let's get into some quick, just sports news real fast. So in the NBA, Miami Heat, this is my favorite team. So this is kind of why I wanted to start the show just with this story. But former Heat security officer sentenced to massive memorabilia theft. Whew. This is bad. So basically, Marcos Thomas Perez, who's 62, a retired Miami Police Department veteran and ex-Heat/NBA security employee, was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. He must pay nearly $1.9 million in restitution. Perez also pleaded guilty to transferring stolen goods across state lines. He stole over 400 game-worn jerseys and other items from a secured Kaseya Center equipment room intended for a future Miami Heat museum. And also, one of the items that he sold online, he sold over 100 items online for $1.9 million. That's kind of where the restitution plays into this whole thing. But it was like, I mean, the one item specifically that's kind of crazy is he actually sold a LeBron James NBA Finals jersey for like $100,000. And apparently this guy was one of the only people that really had access to these kind of areas in the arena. So there weren't a lot of people to go through when it came to, I guess, people who were guilty of stealing these jerseys. It's actually kind of insane. I mean, authorities recovered nearly 300 items from his home in April of 2025, but, a U.S. attorney, Jason Redding Quinfones, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, called it a betrayal of public trust and the Heat's values of hard work. So, yeah, that's a big thing in the Miami Heat organization. Heat culture, that's a big thing. Like, it just seems like this was a situation that he knew he could take advantage of, and he did. He made almost $2 million off it. Now, granted, it doesn't matter because he's going to federal prison and he's going to have to pay it all back, which I'm sure he probably does not have that money. I'm sure he spent it somewhere. Those are kind of guesses. I actually don't know if he went and spent it or not. But I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would have probably spent it. And that's a lot of money. And there's a reason you stole it, is to get money to spend for yourself. So I think the LeBron James jersey was interesting that he did steal that from an NBA Finals team. So like, probably a few people have access to those kind of locker rooms. Obviously, cleaning people, probably he went in there after the team and coaches were all out of the arena. So he's probably one of the last people in the entire arena closing it up, things like that. That's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that the Heat have been having a lot of these issues. You've got Terry Rozier with the gambling, and then now you have this security guard stealing sports memorabilia, which luckily the Heat got that because, an NBA Finals jersey, that's a big deal. You have to have that for your museum. That's just a part of team history there. So that's kind of something that really hits home with me, just the Miami Heat thing. Kind of a wild situation with that. And then I was mentioning the Terry Rozier betting thing, and I kind of want to go into the UFC betting thing as well, because the UFC, they canceled a fight for UFC 324 due to suspicious betting activity. It was actually a lightweight bout between Alexander Hernandez and Michael Johnson. So it was pulled hours before the event at T-Mobile Arena, and Dana White confirmed this in the post-event press conference. Due to suspicious betting activity flagged by the promotion's Gaming Integrity Service. And Dana White, he actually made a statement saying, we got called from the Gaming Integrity Service. And I said, I'm not doing this, again. So we pulled the fight. They actually did have issues a couple months ago with this UFC betting thing. So he just said, you know what? Screw this. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. I don't want the integrity of my sport in jeopardy for having this fight on, because if he did put the fight on, it puts the UFC at risk. It puts the credibility of this company at risk. And you're seeing, all these other sports have these issues when it comes to gambling. And it is smart. Dana did do the smart thing saying, hey, I see this going on. I'm going to go ahead and steer away from this just for the sake of my company. I honestly really think that it's kind of nuts, because the reports are also suggesting that there are possible ties to injury rumors involving Hernandez. So a bunch of people were going to be betting on Michael Johnson in this fight. That's probably what he saw. He probably saw a bunch of people unusually betting on a guy to win. And he's just like, he probably had a couple guys come up to him and say, hey, we have this going on. You want to still have the fight go on? Of course not. Of course not. No. And then let's get into some NFL Pro Bowl things. First of all, I think this is kind of blasphemous that Shakur Sanders is a replacement for Drake May in the Pro Bowl. You could have went with any other AFC quarterback, and you pick Shakur, a dude who is 3-4, didn't even throw for 2,000 yards this year. Now, granted, they've done this 2 years in a row now with the Pro Bowl. I think last year Drake May was a replacement, and he didn't even have, I think he had a little over 2,000 yards passing, but the resume was not a Pro Bowl player. Now, granted, it might have been hard to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers to even go to the Pro Bowl. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, maybe CJ Stroud. But even then, CJ Stroud's not one of the better AFC quarterbacks this season. And I still probably would have put him in over Shakur. I mean, Shakur Sanders, I love Shakur Sanders. But this feels like an attention grabber, in my opinion. This feels like, all right, you got Shakur Sanders at the Pro Bowl. Now you're going to get fans to buy tickets. That's what it kind of feels like. It doesn't really feel like that Shakur actually was elected to the Pro Bowl in a real fashion, because he wasn't a Pro Bowl level player. I mean, if you watch him this year, he was not a Pro Bowl level player. Now, granted, he was one of the better rookies, but 7 games. I feel like you got to have some kind of game requirement for you to be a Pro Bowler. And it's got to be more than 10 games. You've got to play majority of the season, like 14 to 15 games, to be able to be a Pro Bowler player. And Shakur, he only started 7. So I don't think he should be a Pro Bowler. I love Shakur Sanders, but I completely disagree with that. I saw that. I was getting ready to get on the show, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and I'm like, Shador's a Pro Bowler? I was genuinely shocked. I'm still shocked that he's actually a Pro Bowler. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I mean, it's a flag football game, but still, why would he, out of all people, be a Pro Bowler? Trevor Lawrence deserves that way more. Dude actually had a great season. He had a great season. I mean, he won Jacksonville, their division. Cleveland is one of the worst teams in the NFL. If Shakur Sanders went 6-1 or even 5-2 in his 7 starts, I'd be like, okay, I kind of get it a little bit more. But since he went 3-4, it makes no sense. No sense. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that Shakur Sanders Pro Bowl selection, because I disagree with it completely. And then the last thing when it comes to news, and then we'll get into everything else we got going on in this show. So, NFL coaching. We've had a lot of NFL coaching changes. We talked about a lot of those in the last podcast. If you guys haven't listened to that, go check that out. It is with Carlos Rosado. But so Phillip Rivers was actually getting interviewed this week for the Bills head coaching job, and he actually withdrew his name from the conversation. He said it wasn't really the right time and place for this with his family and things like that. He said he enjoyed the process, but he just didn't feel like it was the right time. Granted, if he this is kind of a weird thing for me, because if Phillip Rivers is getting an interview and he has had no head coaching experience, I feel like it's kind of unfair to all the other candidates that are out there. I mean, you still have, Brian Flores is probably the top name right now when it comes to head coaching. Obviously Mike McDaniel, he's on the Chargers. He did not take a head coaching job, but I think Mike McDaniel probably could have been a very good option for the Bills because he's an offensive mind. You have Josh Allen. You get some receivers around him. This Bills offense would be nasty, and Mike McDaniel is a very good offensive coach. I think that would have made a lot more sense, but I don't know who's going to be this Bills head coach. I mean, it's kind of like, who would you even go and get for this job? You know what I mean? It's just like yeah, I don't know. I mean, credit to Phillip Rivers. I think probably the way that his career is going, it seems like at some point Phillip Rivers is going to be a head coach. But this kind of does remind me of, the NBA when Steve Nash got a head coaching job with the Brooklyn Nets. No head coaching experience. Now, granted, Phillip Rivers didn't get hired, but I would still question the fact that, hey, this guy got hired. This guy's getting an opportunity over a lot more people with a lot more experience. And I think that's kind of a red flag when it comes to the hiring process. I know a lot of people have, their thoughts about, the Rooney Rule and things like that. I'm not really sure. Like, you have to give certain candidates a chance that are minority candidates, but I don't think Phillip Rivers would have been even deserving. And if he got hired, it probably would have been kind of ludicrous because it's like this dude was just playing and you're expecting him to command a locker room with Josh Allen. I mean, there were funny tweets going on around that were like, yeah, if Phillip Rivers gets hired to be the Bills head coach, he could be an emergency quarterback. I mean, I just don't know if Phillip Rivers is ready for that kind of role. And I don't know if he ever will be, in my personal opinion. But the fact that they were looking at him and fired Sean McDermott, it's kind of wild. And we talked about a lot of that last week in the pod as well. But let's go ahead and get into, we'll start out with the AFC Championship game, man. The Broncos and Patriots in Denver. This was a wild game. So the first half, Jarrett Stidham, he comes out there, throws a deep ball pass to Marvin Mims. Cortland Sutton gets a touchdown, 7-0, very early in this game. And then, we go to almost the end of the second quarter, and the Patriots, you still haven't scored yet. And Jarrett Stidham, there was that controversy where he was backpedaling, and was it an incomplete? Was he trying to pass the ball? Was he trying to push it? The Patriots, obviously they recovered the fumble, but the referees blew the play dead and no touchdown, but the Patriots still get the ball at the 6. So they're in like amazing field position. I know a couple people were like, that was clearly a pass, terrible call. I think a lot of people were wondering, like, first of all, just before I even get into that, Stidham should have thrown that ball a lot earlier. He had clearly had nothing going, but that could have been intentional grounding. I mean, that probably would have been better than the fumble. I mean, at least gives your team a chance to punt it away. Not greatest field position, but that's probably what I would say about that. Now, granted, I mean, the contact maybe forced the ball out, I think that's probably what referees were looking at there, but you could have honestly argued that that was a pass. He was trying to pass it, but then they were saying that it was a backwards pass, which means that you can't call an intentional grounding on it, which means it's a fumble. So that it was a little weird that the way they called that, but that was a huge turning point in the game because the Patriots offense really was struggling. I mean, Drake May didn't even throw for 100 yards in this game. I mean, I think he only had like 80 some odd yards. I mean, he was running the ball more. I mean, I think he ran for like 65 yards this game and a touchdown. But right after that, Stidham turnover, Patriots score. It's a 7-7 ball game. Like, we're going into halftime with a completely different ball game. Patriots get a field goal in there. They go up 3. Then the rest of the game, it was snowy, windy. It was a mess. I mean, I had some people in my group chat that were like, yeah, they shouldn't be out here playing in full blizzards where you can't see the lines. And I actually disagree with that. I mean, it's a part of the game. We've seen so many snow games in history. And I think that if you're going to be outside, and especially in a cold place in Denver and in the playoffs, and you're going to be complaining about this, outside weather doesn't count, then put every stadium in the NFL as a dome. I mean, if that logic is okay with you, then let's go ahead and make every single stadium a dome. Just so it's an equal playing field. It's a neutral weather, okay? But I don't like that. I didn't even like when the Chiefs announced, hey, we're building a dome in Kansas. You know what I mean? I mean, weather is an advantage. And it was an advantage for the team who had the lead. I mean, the Patriots were just throwing the ball away and running the ball on 3rd and long because they trusted their defense so much, because they knew the Broncos weren't going to be able to score, and they couldn't. They could not run the football at all. The Broncos could not run That's what happens when you don't have J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins in this game for Denver would have been huge. Same with Bo Nix. Bo Nix, you could just tell in certain situations where Jarrett Stidham just could not be mobile enough. You're like, yep, that's a situation where Bo Nix could have been super helpful. And I honestly think, with Bo Nix, the Broncos would have won this game because the Patriots offense just was not doing anything. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson was really killing it for the Patriots. He really was. I mean, he was running the ball. He was very physical, getting a lot of yards. They really put a lot of weight on his shoulders in this game. But these are the type of games you have to be able to win if you want to be a great team and if you want to win a Super Bowl. And the Patriots have done it. I mean, they're going to their 12th Super Bowl in franchise history. They also tie the 49ers with 40 playoff wins, the most all time. I mean, what the Patriots have been able to do after the Tom Brady era and rebuild this team. Get Mike Vrabel on this coaching staff. Draft Drake May. You pick up Stephon Diggs this offseason. Keyshawn Boutte is starting to come into his own. You have Hunter Henry. You drafted Travion Henderson. You have Ramondre Stevenson, as I was talking about. This team is really damn good. They're super balanced. I mean, even on defense, Christian Gonzalez is one of the best corners in football. He had an interception in this game. Now, granted, that interception, not the greatest throw, but on that sequence there, I think it was back-to-back plays where Stidham took back-to-back shots deep. And I get it. It's desperation time, but it's okay when you have enough time to just hit a guy on a shallow crosser. Get some yards. Get a completion under your belt. It gets momentum going, and it becomes contagious. And those are just kind of some things that I was looking at in this Buffalo game. But now, it just kind of, history-wise in this game as well, the Patriots are the 3rd team in the Super Bowl era to win a conference title with 10 points or less joining the 91 Bills and the 79 Rams. And the Patriots defense has allowed 26 points across 3 playoff games. That is unprecedented. Second lowest ever behind the 2000 Ravens. And the Ravens allowed 16. They're an elite company when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. They can rush the passer. They can stop the run. They can tackle. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see how Seattle does against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And Seattle's favored in the Super Bowl right now. I think the line was like 4.5 last time I looked at it. That'll be very interesting. That's going to be a good game. Super Bowl rematch. We all know what happened, a few years back. I think it was 2013, if I'm not mistaken, when Russell Wilson threw the interception at the goal line. Malcolm Butler picks it up. You already know Seattle's not going to stop running the football this time. I mean, they got Kenneth Walker, who's a beast, which we'll get into that game in a little bit after we kind of hear from Drake May. Drake May, I mean, not the greatest game from Drake May throwing the football. Running the football, he was making a lot of off-schedule plays. Tony Romo, during the game, he kept saying multiple times, if the Patriots want to win this game, Drake May has to be able to make these off-schedule plays. And he was doing it all game long. He even had that first down on 3rd and 6 to seal the deal with minute 57 left in the game. I mean, the footing for these linebackers for Denver is so hard with the snow. So Drake May was able to get on the edge, get by these guys. But I mean, he's been doing this all season. He has. Drake May has been doing this all year, but this is where his legs were needed the most. In a game like this, where you're kind of scared to throw the football, because you could tell Josh McDaniels was scared to throw the football in the snow. And I don't blame him. I don't. The conditions were crazy. But, honestly, congrats to Drake May, man. I mean, I love this guy. He becomes the second youngest starting QB to reach the Super Bowl behind Dan Marino. Elite company there. Let's go ahead and hear from Drake May real quick. 23 years of age, second NFL season, and he's going to the bowl.
Props to this team, man. What effort out there tonight. We're going to the Super Bowl. That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty cool. So just proud of this team, proud of the defense. We didn't play our best ball in the first half, and the second half came out and just battling the elements, snow and the elements. And it was a gritty win, and our defense, they stepped up. It was fun to watch.
And also just one more thing. Coach Mike Vrabel could become the first person ever to win a Super Bowl as a player and a coach with the same franchise. That would be impressive. And we knew Mike Vrabel was a great coach. We knew this. He did his thing with Tennessee. He went to the AFC Championship game. He was competing, had the number 1 seed with that team, took Ryan Tannehill, and granted he had Derrick Henry, but Ryan Tannehill to the AFC title game. No one expected the Patriots to go from 4-13 last year to 14-3. I mean, I was really high on the Patriots this year. I mean, I said they were going to win the division, but I didn't think they were going to make the Super Bowl like this. And you know what's kind of crazy as well? Stephon Diggs makes a Super Bowl without Josh Allen. He is in the Super Bowl for the first time in his career. I mean, props to him, man. Everyone going into this season, including me, was like, well, I'm not really sure how impactful Stephon Diggs is going to be. But also, wait, I take that back, because I did say I think Stephon Diggs can be good. And I saw the workouts he was having after his torn ACL. He was looking really good. So I actually thought he could tap into a little bit of prime Diggs. Now, granted, he's not going to be what he was in Buffalo, but he doesn't have to be. He has a good team around him. So props to him. There's a lot of good storylines with this Patriots team. There really are a lot of good ones, but it's just nuts. I mean, you had Gerard Mayo as the coach and then Mike Vrabel as the coach. Big difference. Huge difference in the culture and everything like that. Very impressive turnaround for the Patriots. And now let's go to the NFC Championship game. First of all, this was a shootout. Both quarterbacks throw for 300 yards. Sam Darnold looked amazing. Amazing. But it's also credit to his wide receivers. Jackson Smith and Jigba is disgusting. This dude, I'm ready to say, you know what? Screw it. I don't care. Jackson Smith and Jigba is the best receiver in football. You can line him up anywhere. He's so fast. His routes are nasty. He's so shifty. His hands are really good. He had like 153 yards. The second most in Seahawks playoff history on 10 catches. Like, oh my goodness. Dude is dirty. Dude is dirty. And if you have a quarterback like Sam Darnold, we saw what he did with Jefferson last year. Look what he's doing with JSN. Sam Darnold, the playoff curse is over. The question marks going into this game were, he faced the Rams last year. He didn't do so well. He got sacked the most in NFL history in a playoff game. He comes into this game with all the pressure and delivers. Threw for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and he's playing through an oblique injury. He's still out there balling out. Sam Darnold, their first quarterback in that stacked 2018 draft class to make the Super Bowl. And someone asked him about that after the game, so we'll go ahead and let him, get that reaction, and then we'll come back and talk about the rest of this game.
Yeah, I actually made it in 23 as well when I was in San Francisco. So, no, I'm just messing with you. No, it's unbelievable, man. Just obviously those are great players, but just it's more so the team. Just the hard work that we've put in throughout this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's going to a Super Bowl before Lamar and Josh Allen. That's nuts. And I guess just looking at Sam Darnold's career, the Jets are just that cursed. Look at the way he's developed. And I also think, like, seeing a guy like Sam Darnold, he's picked top 3. Give these quarterbacks time. I think that's what we're learning from this right now. Give guys time to develop. He's a late bloomer, but he still has a lot of green grass ahead of him. And he's still a heck of a player. And the Seahawks have built this team so good. Really well. I'm sure the Vikings are really regretting not keeping him. Dumbest move an organization could have ever made. Ever. Oh, and Sam Darnold's also the first quarterback ever to have 14-plus win seasons with 2 different teams. Come on, dude. Come on. That's not fair. And even like in the storylines going into, Cooper Kupp, his old team, he gets back to the bowl. Even that same kind of opinion with Stephon Diggs. Cooper Kupp is washed. He's not really that good anymore. He's still good. He's not Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, but this dude is still really good. He had a impact on this game. I mean, he had a touchdown in the third quarter. He was huge in this game, not just in the receiving end, but blocking. Cooper Kupp might be the best blocking receiver in the league. Him and Puka are right there. But I just think, I really pinpoint the 4th down conversion, the Rams going for it on 4th down in the 4th quarter. They had I think it was like a 12 or 13 play drive. They go down there. They're on 4th down. Don't get it. That was insanely defeating. Great, like, and like at that point, I know you want to get the touchdown and take the lead, but at some point, when do you decide to say, okay, I'm gonna kick the field goal? Like, when did kicking field goals become a bad thing? It's still getting points. Points are hard to come by. And think about it. If it was a 31-30 ball game and the Rams got the ball back with 20 seconds, all you have to do is draw up a play, even 2 plays, to get into field goal range. Get a guy on a deep out and then try to get another play very similar. Because you did have 0 timeouts, which I'll kind of get into that situation with McMay and the Cooper Kupp thing in a second. But like, that's my thing, is you don't have to go, give or take like 92 yards to win this ball game. At that point, you can just give your kicker a chance and win the game that way. But people are just so against field goals for some reason. I love the going for 4th down. I think it's very entertaining to watch. But sometimes it's not always necessary. And especially when you have that long of a drive that took about, like almost 9 minutes? At some point, you cannot just come up with 0 because it's so defeating. If you get 3, it's like, all right, well, that was a long drive, but at least we came up with something. At least we came out with something. That's kind of what I'm looking at. But I'll also touch on this as well. Like, the Rams, like, honestly, were on the verge of being blown out because I think it was like a 4th and 12. Like, in the second half, I think it was like the 3rd quarter. And, like, dude, the Seahawks get a taunting penalty, automatic 1st down. Rams, next play, Puka Nacua to Stafford, touchdown. Completely changed the game. Changed the game. Those are mistakes that Seattle cannot afford to have in the Super Bowl. And Tom Brady said it perfectly. You don't really see that often from this Seattle team. And I was genuinely surprised because it was 4th and 12. And the player who got the taunting penalty, dropped an interception the play before that. So, like, yeah, Reek Woolen. Reek Woolen had a dropped interception, and then he had the unsportsmanlike conduct. 2 massive momentum flippers in this game because the Seahawks were up 31-20. They get the ball back. They go and score a touchdown. 38-20 ball game. You're looking at the Rams throwing the ball on every single play for the rest of the game. Like honestly, if you look at this game, it shouldn't have been as close as it was. Seattle was kind of shooting themselves in the foot, giving the Rams a chance. They were. I hate to say it, but like, I think the Seahawks are gonna be better because they have to be. Patriots defense is really good. They cannot have those kind of, even like when you get a stop like that on an offense like the Rams and then you give them another shot, it's like, oh my goodness. Like, that kills you. And luckily it didn't lose them the game, but like, man, that could have been big if that would have been the thing that everybody's looking at if the Seahawks lost this game. But I mean, I'm kind of just like looking at also, some of the Seahawks injuries. Drake Thomas left the 4th quarter with a shoulder injury. I mean, that's a big guy to lose, but I mean, they're chasing that title. I mean, they have a chance to do the funniest thing ever. Avenge Pete Carroll and that Seahawks team. Because if you just run the ball with Marshawn Lynch, things are simple. You go back to back. It's a very interesting storyline for these 2 squads. Next week on the episode, we'll go more into depth on the Super Bowl 60 matchup. I am excited for it. It is going to be a fun Super Bowl. I expect a close game, but I do expect a little bit of a low-scoring game. Both of these defenses are really good, but the Patriots haven't seen an offense like this. I mean, I will really be curious to see kind of where Christian Gonzalez goes and how much he follows Jackson Smith and Jigba. We'll talk about that more next week on the podcast because I really want to do a deep dive on that and do a Super Bowl pod next week. But, I mean, this is going to be a fun game. It's really going to be a fun game. I'm very interested to see kind of how both teams decide to game plan for their offense. Obviously, both teams are going to run the football. You know, Kenneth Walker is so good. Dude's so talented. He's so talented. He's so fast around the edge. He's such a great running back. I want to see, that's going to be the deciding factor in that game. Which run game is better? Charbonnet being out in this Super Bowl hurts a lot. But I still think the Seahawks can definitely win. 1,000%. I have the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. And I'm sticking with it. But that's kind of my thing. Kind of to wrap this whole thing up. But let's go ahead and get into this week's play of the week. Yeah, let's go. Actually, no football play of the week this week. But I kind of did like this play of the week. So last year in the NBA Finals, obviously, you know, the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder matched up, went 7 games. Aaron Nesmith dunked on Chet Holmgren in that series. And then fast forward to this year. Pacers are not really good. They're the second worst team in the NBA. They have like 11 wins. Thunder are the best team in the NBA. And Aaron Nesmith dunks on Chet Holmgren once again.
Siakam guarded by Kenrich Williams, who came back in. Nesmith turns the corner. Inside! Throws it down!
Get him! Oh, there's some attitude with Nesmith on Holmgren.
What a dunk and a drive by Aaron Nesmith.
On Holmgren, you could see the emotion there. On him, on his teammates, everybody excited.
Aaron Nesmith.
So the Pacers actually beat the best team in the NBA in this one, 117-114. SGA had 46 in this game. And all the like, 74-8 crap that was going on at the beginning of the season, talking about, can OKC be the best team of all time? Do you know how difficult it is? Like, I saw the Warriors team that went 73-9 in person. I don't think people understand how good that team was. Like, I'm not saying this Thunder team is not great, but they're not on that level. They're not on the 72-win Bulls level. Like, they're great, they're good, but sometimes you lose games in this league. Sometimes, I mean, they've lost games to like Portland, Indiana, some bad teams. Sometimes you're just going to have an off night. When you have 82 games like that, sometimes you're just going to have an off night. It happens in the NBA. It happens. It's okay. It's okay for that to happen. That's this week's play of the week. And now let's get into... Oh, sorry. I want to say Nesmith's stats real quick. Aaron Nesmith in this game, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 of 14 from the field. Second straight game with 15-plus points for Nesmith. He's having a great year, averaging 13 points a game. I love him as a defensive player as well. It's just too bad. The Pacers are very injured. I expect the Pacers to be really good next year. I think they'll be really good next year. But that's we're going to get into more NBA kind of after the NFL season, also college basketball as well. I just want to really stay focused on NFL as well. But let me know in the comments what you guys think of this podcast so far. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, comment what you think about my takes, any thoughts about the AFC, NFC championship games, and also Super Bowl 60, which we will be doing a more in-depth pod about next week. So don't worry, I'm not forgetting about Super Bowl 60. It's just I got 2 weeks to talk about it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my predictions and my whole thought next week. You did kind of hear my predictions in this episode, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But So the Paramount era for the UFC opened up with a bang. I mean, this was a great card. Great card. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje was a bloodbath. Oh my goodness. So this fight, there's a lot to get into with this fight. So Justin Gaethje, he's 37 years of age. Paddy Pimblett, he's an up-and-coming star in the UFC. So before we get into the actual fight itself, a lot of people are kind of upset that Arman Shesurkin did not get a title shot. And these two guys are getting a title shot for him because Arman is the number one contender. And he almost fought Islam. Now, granted, he had to pull out because of an injury, but a lot of people were saying that Arman could give Islam a good fight. So imagine what he could do with Ilia Topuria. But the winner of this fight between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje got the winner of Ilia Topuria. And Justin Gaethje wins 5th round. He goes 5 rounds with Paddy Pimblett. Unanimous decision. Now let's just break this down round by round. So the first round, obviously I think Paddy was actually winning the first round. And then towards the end, he almost got knocked out. Gaethje was hitting him with some shots. And I think you could kind of tell at the beginning of the fight early on that Gaethje did not respect Paddy's power. Paddy was kind of throwing these baseball punches with no power. He was hitting some clean shots, but you could tell Gaethje just didn't respect his power. And Paddy, I think we learned a couple things with Paddy Pimblett in this fight. So he has no power, and he has a crazy chin. Some of the shots he was taking should not have happened. I think there was a warning in the first round for an eye poke. Second round goes, Paddy and Gaethje are going at it. I mean, it's nonstop back and forth in this fight. And honestly, I was genuinely surprised Paddy Pimblett was not shooting for takedowns. He didn't shoot for takedowns at all. Gaethje had more takedowns than Paddy Pimblett. Understand that. The knockdown count was different. And Gaethje is not a wrestler. And he was actually holding Pimblett in these weird positions where Gaethje was kind of on Paddy's neck, trying to get a submission. I don't know what Paddy was doing. That was not a good game plan. I talked about this last week in the pod. He needed to take him down, wrestle him, and then get him to a point where he's vulnerable and you can start just punching him in the face. But Paddy Pimblett did not do that at all in this fight. And it was really shocking. And Gaethje beat him. But Gaethje, in the third round, got away with a major eye poke. He literally poked him with his thumb. No, didn't call it. There was a groin shot as well that was not called. No stoppage, no official timeout, nothing. And why that eye poke was so big is because the referee already warned him. So if he did it again and the referee wasn't paying attention, I don't know how you don't see that. He was gouging his eyeball. But that's an automatic point. And Gaethje won by unanimous decision. But honestly, it probably would have been a split decision or even a draw. That's how big that point was. It could have been the difference of Gaethje winning this fight. Now, I don't think Paddy would have won. I think Paddy's best case scenario in this fight is getting a draw with that eye poke. But still, that would have been a huge factor. Huge factor. But I was just disappointed with Paddy's game plan. You never, Paddy striking looked better, but he's not a striker. He's take you to the ground and pound, do that. If you're going to stand, honestly, going into this fight, the only way Gaethje had a chance in this fight was if Paddy did what he did. And that's what happened. He stood up with him and was trading blows with him. Not smart. But you see the shots that Paddy Pimblett was taking. Gaethje could have knocked him out numerous occasions. And Paddy was standing there taking it. His face was bloodied up. It was bad. It was bad. Beat up. Paddy's going to have to take a long time off after this fight because he got the shit beaten out of him by Justin Gaethje. And that's very disappointing. This isn't even prime Gaethje. Like, I know Gaethje's still dangerous, but this isn't even prime Gaethje. If you stick to the game plan, you win. That's what genuinely frustrates me with this fight. You wrestle him, take him to the ground, you win this fight. I don't know why you were playing around with him so much. I genuinely don't. But now, Justin Gaethje, he is the interim lightweight champion for the second time in his career. He is going to be fighting Ilia Topuria. They don't know when yet. There are rumors about that being the White House headliner, which would be, honestly, that would be a heck of a headliner, in my opinion. But if you look at it as a fight, headline-wise, it's great. But as a fight, I think Ilia runs right through this guy. Ilia's knocked out every guy he has fought in his last 4 fights. He knocked out Volk. He knocked out Oliveira. What do you think's going to happen with Justin Gaethje? I'm just telling you right now. He knocked out Max Holloway as well. All those guys are bad dudes. And Gaethje lost to Oliveira. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Ilia's just different. His power is nasty. He can wrestle. He can take you to the ground. I would be genuinely shocked if there was some kind of a fight there. I really would. But Gaethje, after winning the belt, he talked about fighting Ilia afterwards. So let's go ahead and hear from him real quick.
I mean, if I had any bit of a personality, it'd be huge. But I just can't. I can't lie. I can't exaggerate. You know, it's what I do. It's who I am. It's who my parents taught me to be. But I mean, there's no doubt it would be the best. You know, one of the best fights that they could definitely put on. It'll be for an undisputed belt, and I think they want to have 6 or 7. You know, whatever they want to have as many as possible. So if he's not back by then, they will strip him, and I will be undisputed, and then I'll fight for the belt on there and defend it.
Defend the belt against Ilia. So the interim title versus the champ. Gaethje has never been the actual champ in his career. I don't think he's going to become the champ. If he has to defend the belt against Ilia, he's going to lose it. He's going to lose it. So I think there's a lot of question marks. Who's going to be the headliner for that White House card? Who really knows who's going to be the headline of that card? I know Dana White, as I'm recording this, said he's going to start making it. He's going to start making the card. I don't think they've announced what it was. I also got some numbers that dropped 42 minutes ago for the UFC's first Paramount Plus fight card. So they averaged nearly 5 million views. The streaming platform's largest exclusive live event. That's a big deal. And I think just with kind of the UFC Paramount stuff, like, I'm so glad I don't have to pay to watch UFC because it's the most entertaining sport to watch. It's so fun. Now I'm just waiting for kind of boxing to get into it and get these pay-per-views out of here. And then everybody's going to be locked into combat sports. I'm telling you. Like, even non-sports fans can sit down and watch a boxing match. I mean, I took my girlfriend to Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua in December, and she hasn't watched boxing much. She's really not a big sports person outside of college basketball, but she was very entertained by watching people punch each other in the face. Like, there's not one person on earth that doesn't want to see that. It's modern day Gladiator. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I also saw something that was very interesting as well that I would just kind of like to talk about. Imagine a UFC fight in the Colosseum in Rome, Italy. Do you know, look how, I know it's hard to top the UFC White House, but that could actually top it. if the UFC does a fight in the Coliseum in Rome, I think that could top it. Honestly, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment everything about, you know, the episode and some of your opinions. And we're trying to get to 10,000 subs, guys. So let's keep this going. So let's get into the fight before Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. So Sugar Sean O'Malley, former bantamweight champion of the world, he returned after suffering 2 big-time losses to Merab Dvalishvili. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Merab. Don't beat me up. But he fought Song Yongdong out of China, and I mean, you know, I think it was, you know, a good test for Sean. I wasn't too impressed with the performance. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Sean was very timid in this fight, very hesitant, wasn't letting his hands go. He was kind of just coasting, trying not to lose, and I don't like that. And it really seems like he's lost a lot of confidence since losing that fight to Merab. And I think he needs to kind of get that back a little bit. He's not the same Sugar Show. You can tell the energy's not the same. Even his call out after the fight, it was like, well, you know, I want to fight Peter Yan, you know, if Merab doesn't get a title shot, you know. If you want the fight, make it happen. Call him out. Don't say if. You know what I mean? Don't say if. You beat him. You beat Peter Yan already. Now, granted, that was a way different Peter Yan, and that was a way different fight. If Sean and Peter Yan fought again, it'd be 5 rounds, and I think Peter wins this time. Because the way Peter Yan looked against Merab in his last fight to win the title, that's the best Peter Yan I've ever seen. And I don't see Sean O'Malley touching that. Because Peter Yan, now granted, Sean O'Malley's not going to try to take him down, but I think Peter Yan could really take down Sean and wrestle him and beat the crud out of him. I think that's a dangerous fight for Sean. And I don't think he wins it. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough for the Sugar Show to get the belt back. As much of a Sugar Show fan I am, and as much as I want to see him get the belt, that's going to be a tall task. I mean, it really is. Now, granted, I think it's a great fight. You know, Peter Yan's the champ now. Sean O'Malley, he beat Peter Yan. Yan, that's a perfect title defense. Makes sense. Yan wants to get revenge. I think it makes sense. I think the fight's going to happen. I think it's going to get made. I think it's a good fight. That's also a talk of, will that be on the UFC White House as well? I'm really waiting to see how that card unfolds, because I don't know who's going to be the main event for that fight. We talked about that a lot last week on the pod too, but yeah, I wasn't really too impressed with that performance. I think the only reason Sean won this fight is because Yadong's face was bleeding like crazy, and he had that really good finish to the 3rd round. But I mean, I scored the fight Yadong 2-1. I thought he won that fight, in my opinion. I didn't think Sean won the fight, but I'm glad he won the fight because I am a fan of his. So, yeah, that's kind of what I think. But we'll kind of move on to JB's picks, courtesy of DraftKings. That's where we're getting the odds right now for this fight. So we got a couple things. Boxing this week has a huge fight that I've really been looking forward to. Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. This is going to be 12 rounds for the WBO and the Ring Magazine Junior Welterweight Championship titles. This is 140 pounds. So, Shakur Stevenson, a lot on the line for this guy in this fight. I think he's going to win. I got him minus 330 to become a 4-division champion. He's moving up from 135 pounds in this fight. He was the WBC lightweight champ. Now he's going to go and fight Lopez, who's trying to get back into that top 10 pound per pound status. You can look at his resume. I mean, there's a lot to like when it comes to Lopez. He beat Lomachenko in his prime. That was a great fight at 23 years of age. But then he's had a couple bad losses. I'm very curious to see how Shakur's defense impacts Teo. Is Teo going to be throwing recklessly, and is Shakur going to be able to catch him with these counter punches? Because Shakur is not going to knock out Teo. Now, he probably could knock him down, and over time, maybe wear him out, get him tired, do something similar to what Floyd Mayweather would do. But I think Shakur is going to have a game plan. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I really do, and it's going to be streamed on DAZN pay-per-view. I'm kind of annoyed that it's a pay-per-view fight, but I'm still gonna watch it. And now I think, if Teo wants to win this fight, I think he's got to knock him out. But I think Shakur needs to be a little careful. Now, granted, his pocket shifting was good in his last fight against Cepeda, who was undefeated, but there were times when he got caught in the corner and had to figure out how to get out. And if Shakur is in the corner like that against a guy like Teo, I think that's dangerous, because Shakur has not fought a guy as dangerous as Teo. So I think this is going to be a really interesting fight, because I do think when it comes to the overall scheme of things, Shakur has never fought a guy like this. This is by far his toughest fight. But I think you have to respect the fact that he's going up in weight and he's challenging himself. He wants to become a 4-division weight champion. And I think that could definitely happen in this fight. But, I mean, Teo, ever since he lost in 2022, he's had 6 straight wins. You know what I mean? So I think, I honestly do think this is a 50-50 fight. I really do. I really do. But I'm going to stick with Shakur Stevenson. I've liked Shakur Stevenson. He hasn't been getting the publicity he's needed, but I think his last couple performances have been impressive. It's been world championship level performances. That's what he's been doing. So I'm really looking forward to see him fight on a stage like this at Madison Square Garden. The place is going to be rocking. And I love seeing these smaller guys fight because they're so fast and they're so fun to watch. I mean, this is going to be a good fight. I'm really looking forward to watching this fight. Let me know in the comments who you guys got in this fight. And also, UFC 325, Diego Lopez versus Alexander Volkanovski for the featherweight title is next week. That's going to be a good fight as well. Diego Lopez is a dangerous guy now. Volkanovski, he got the belt back because, let's be honest here, it's because Ilya Topuria left the featherweight division. Let's just say it how it is, okay? Let's just say it how it is, okay? And he also knocked him out. So that's why Volk is the champ. I don't really consider this the real featherweight champion, but But I think Diego Lopez can win this fight. I do. I do think he can. I do. I actually would take him in this fight. I think Volk's getting up there. He's got a lot of miles on him. He's had a great career, one of the greatest featherweights of all time. But I think this is Diego Lopez's turn. I like his kickboxing. His striking is elite. He can also submit people. He has power. I think, and he's got the reach as well. Now, Volk has never had the reach in a lot of his fights. So I don't know if that's going to play a factor. But it could. It could. It's going to be a good fight. It really is going to be a good fight. And I know we've been talking a lot of fighting on this podcast, but just one more thing. That the fight between Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, that was supposed to be on UFC 324. So just for the card to do that well, averaging 5 million plus viewers, and not having that fight on there, I don't think people understand how big of a card that could have been. That could have been even bigger. I mean, this card was stacked. So I think we missed out on a great fight. I'm also hoping that's on the White House card as well. We'll kind of see how the White House card looks, and as it starts to come together, we'll obviously give you my thoughts on it as well. Dana said Conor McGregor's in the running. He did shoot down the Masvidal fight, which we did talk about last week as being a possibility. I don't think that's going to be a possibility. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. But this is going to go ahead and do it, man, for this edition of The Take. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell, comment your thoughts on this episode. And also, make sure to share it with all your friends, family. We want people watching this podcast. But I appreciate you guys listening to this episode and all the support. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my